Welcome back, guys. I'm Zell, and today we're getting a look at Kershaw's Fraxion. Alright, guys, the Kershaw Fraxion. It's a very small knife, very light knife from Kershaw and Jens Anso. Kind of a neat little design, and what we get on the outside is glass-filled nylon with a carbon fiber overlay on the scales, and carbon fiber on the back. We have kind of a standard sleeve and torque screw pivot, and something to notice there. Look how well centered that blade is. It's right down the wickets. Now we do have a tip-up left or right hand carry pocket clip. It is not a deep carry, but we'll look at that here in a minute as usual. And we have a small flipper tab here with some not terribly aggressive jimping on it. And our little back spacers there are nice little barrels or spools, and just really nice looking. And for dimensions, we have a closed length of just over 4 inches, a handle thickness of just under 0.4 inches, and a closed height of 1.1. So this is a little guy. That's why we got her zoomed in. And we'll zoom back out for some size comparison. And there is our Buck 110. And wow, it's really small compared to the Buck 110 and the Rat. And still, the regular orange Delica is on vacation, so we're going to have to use our HAP 40 Delica, which he's being kind enough to step in. And the Fraxion is slightly smaller than the Delica. And we'll look at that again here in a minute. And getting a look at our blade. Our blade is a little hollow ground piece of 8CR13 MOV. It's a blade stock thickness of about 0.11. That's just under 3 millimeter. And, you know, it's a pretty nice looking blade. We got some swedges up here, a nice hollow grind. We have our Kershaw emblem here, and our Anso design, model number, and Kai patented, of course. And our blade designation, blade steel designation, and also China and little bitty letters down there. So a bit of a billboard on the blade, but not awful. So the question is, will it cut with Kershaw's factory edge? Here's some of our junk paper again, and what do you know? And if you notice, we kind of changed format. I didn't used to do this because the knife companies usually sent you a dull knife. Just to be quite honest, we couldn't have, with many of the budget knives, done what we just did there. But for 2017, and for some of them even the later half of 2016, they have started to step up their game. They're feeling the pressure and they're doing better. So we're going to change format to accommodate that. And there we go. It is sharp out of the box. And let's grab our Levi's and see what it looks like down in the pocket. And this is kind of a downer. I'll explain why. You know, it doesn't stick up all that far out of the pocket. What, about 3/4 of an inch maybe? But this is one of those knives. It's so small, so short, it really could have benefited from a deeper carry pocket clip, just because our kick up here on this clip, as you can see, is going to be pretty tall, and that gives this knife lots of opportunity for the clip to catch on something and flip that knife out of your pocket. So I would have liked to have seen a deeper carry pocket clip here. And this is not one of those deals where, oh, well, I'll just get me an add-on pocket clip, because an add-on pocket clip with probably the Kershaw and ZT, looks like the Hinderer clip screw set here, would cost as much as a knife. The knife's only $31, so yeah. But here's what I've done. I rather like this little guy, and I've just been letting it float in my pocket. And, you know, as a secondary knife, not as a primary. And it works great for that because it only weighs 1.99 ounces. That's where they claim to get the Fraxion name, is that this knife weighs a fraction of other knives in its class. And, you know, for the most part, that's true, and that's why I was saying we get the Delica back out. Delica is right around 2.5 ounces, and, you know, it's in the same class, 2.9-inch blade length. Got arguably better steel in the Delica, arguably better construction, and a lot more price. But I don't know that from 2 to 2.45, 4 or 5 is really a Fraxion. But hey, the name's cool, so we'll go with it. And from here, we'll go to our pause and read card, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, so this is not a first for Kershaw. They've done it before, but this is the first time I put my hands on a Kershaw manual opening KVT system, and the KVT system is their ball bearing setup, flipper, and it's been an enjoyable experience. Whenever you put your finger on the thing and flick it, it opens. Blade is centered right down the wickets, and it's just beautiful. It's way better than any Chinese-made Kershaw that I've seen in the past, any of the ones running on bearings and not on their torsion bar system. So I've got to give it to them for that. Now, one knock they're going to get is the detent was so tight whenever this knife showed up that it took, oh Lord, I have no idea how many hundred flips to get this thing loose. But it did loosen up. And now that it's loosened up some, it's been great. And to loosen it up, all I did was dribble a little heavier oil down in there. And, you know, you could use some synthetic motor oil if you've got some. Just be sure you're not allergic to that stuff. And just flipped it. You know, for a while I had a little pair of, it's a pair of rubber-jawed little vice grip type things. And I just popped it back and forth a bunch while I was watching some CAD instruction video. But anyhow, the action is very good now. It's you know, it opens up with authority, and it's necessary because that is really about the only way to get that blade out of there. I mean, you could, if you really needed to, get it out, but it's not meant to be gotten out that way. And it is a liner lock. As we can see, it's locking up probably 60-70%. I'm not going to complain too much about that. That's really pretty deep, but everything else on the knife is so good that that's, you know, it's a minor complaint. And ergonomics, you know, that is something, it's a very small knife. And whenever you get to a very small knife, ergonomics get very, very tricky. You know, it's barely getting my pinky on it, and it's all right. In fact, you know, I would call it pretty decent, except for the pocket clip. Now, for me, that's not a big deal. I would take that pocket clip off and just let it be a pocket floater, but you may want to use the pocket clip, and let me show you what I'm talking about. You got it in your standard grip. That pocket clip goes almost, 5/8 of the way down the knife, quite a ways. And, you know, you're going to get your hand on it. There's just no way around it. It's not awful, but they could have done something a little different. And other than that, you can get a hold of this thing just about any way you need to because of its size, and it's good. So overall, the ergonomics are good. The pocket clip, in every way, is a miss for me. They could have used the same screw set and just used one of the Hinderer style flip over pocket clips, and this would have been an ace. But, well, you know, they had to do something a little goofy. But overall, the Fraxion, now that I got it broke in, is a beautiful little knife, and it is, once again, a Kershaw running on KVT bearings, made in China, and it centers up. It's built well. We've got that FRN and carbon fiber overlay, and it's done very nicely on both sides of the knife. They've chamfered everything decently. Those edges could use just a little touch of softening, but they're not all that bad. And overall, guys, we're not going to give it an A+ because of that pocket clip, but I'm still going to give it an A because it is the first KVT system Kershaw that I've taken out of the box and mechanically has been perfect. So it's an A out of Kershaw. If you're looking for a small knife, especially something you might float in your pocket, the Kershaw Fraxion should be on your list if you're looking for one in that budget category. And that blade centering just blows me away. I haven't seen a Chinese-made Kershaw center like that, well, ever. Anyhow, guys, I really appreciate you stopping by and talking knives with me for a few minutes. This has been the Kershaw Fraxion, and it's a really cool little Jens Anso design, and you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.